Let me know when we're rolling. We're on? Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the FMF, 5-Minute Farby. A few words of inspiration for the week. So what's the difference between a Jewish mother and an Italian mother? An Italian mother tells her child, if you don't eat this food, I'll kill you. A Jewish mother tells her child, if you don't eat this food, it'll kill me. What's going on? Jewish guilt. Maybe you're familiar with it. It's something that is embedded deep inside of our psyche. It's part, or appears to be, part of our people. Where does it come from? Who wants it? It's not a good thing. What do we get out of guilt? Who wants it? How do we get rid of it? So we're going to briefly touch upon that, but first there's a question. We just started the entire Torah brand new in the year 5778. The beginning of the Torah, Beresheis, a new start, a new beginning. So one of the first words that God said at the very beginning of the Torah, the very beginning words, it says, in the beginning God created heaven and earth. And everything was complete darkness. It was chaos. And then God created light and saw the light was good. So the question is, actually first we've got to preface the question. The Rambam explains that we just actually learned a few weeks ago in the beginning of the Rambam, that the beginning of all wisdom and the pillar and foundation of everything is to know God, to know that there is a primary being, a God who brought every single thing into creation from absolutely nothing at all and continues to do so every single second of the day. So we have to understand that God is above light. He's above darkness. He's above physical, he's above spiritual, because he creates all of these things. So it doesn't make a difference to God how he rolls out creation. He could do anything. But yet he chose to start creation out of darkness and then add light. Why? Why not start with light and then add darkness? In fact, the Hebrew calendar is the only calendar that begins counting the days the evening before. So as soon as sundown starts, you're automatically on the next day. Why? So we're going to answer that question. And first we want to speak a brief moment about this guilt thing, this guilt complex. So where does it come from? Guilt is not a good emotion. It's not a good feeling. It doesn't do anything to help us. In fact, guilt is a very negative thing. So why do we have it? We have it because if we do something we're not supposed to do, and let's face it, we all do things that we shouldn't be doing. Afterwards, we have what's called as a conscience. And our conscience says, wow, I can't believe I did that. I shouldn't have done that. And instead of fixing the problem, we just add guilt to it. And we say, oh, I feel so terrible. I feel so bad. It's killing me. It's killing me. I feel so bad. All these feelings that we say that they're killing us, that they're bothering us, it's making us feel human. Because if we didn't harbor those type of feelings or resentments, let's face it, we'd be sociopaths. A sociopath would be completely numb to any negative thing he ever did and say, who cares? I don't care. It doesn't bother me. So now you're not human. If it bothers you, you feel better about it. You at least feel like, you know what? I know I shouldn't have done it, but if I eat my heart out, if I eat my kishkes, if I feel guilty, then I'll feel better because I'm a good person. I'm telling you, get rid of the guilt. There's no place for it. So what do? How do we fix, how do we deal with negativity when we don't do the right thing? I'll share a brief story with you. As a lot of you know, we run a place called the Center here in Miami for a lot of Jewish youth. I don't want to call them at risk because the entire world is at risk right now. But we had a boy who was having a difficult time. He got addicted to drugs. It started with Oxycontin and wound up becoming heroin. And he wound up, unfortunately, getting in a tough situation. And Baruch Hashem, he's doing better now. But I spent a lot of time with this young man. And he used to tell me all the time, you know, the hardest thing for me, Matisiao, the most difficult thing for me, I know I did wrong. I know I screwed up my life. I know I did bad things. But there was a friend of mine. And he was such a good boy. He was a good kid. He came from a good family. He didn't have any problems. And I gave him his first pill of Oxycontin. I turned him on to pharmaceutical grade heroin. And from there, his life went in a complete turmoil, a downward spiral. His life got destroyed. He wound up going in and out of rehabs and getting in all kinds of trouble. And a whole mess. He said, this I can't forgive myself for. It's eating me apart. The guilt is killing me. What am I supposed to do? So the answer actually was given to us in the Tanya, the first book of Chabad Hasidus by the Alter Rebbe, the first Rebbe of Chabad, just a few days ago. A few days ago in the Tanya, the Alter Rebbe explained, nothing could come into this world unless God allows it to do so. Meaning that no matter how bad something happens, even if you're the one whose hand it goes through, it was declared above for it to happen. That doesn't mean you're not responsible for your actions. That doesn't mean that there isn't reward and punishment both in this world, in the physical world, from the court systems, and above from God. But what it does mean is that if it wasn't through your hand, it would have came through another hand. It's the mashal is given in the Gemara of a dog that bites the stick, completely oblivious to the hand of the master that the stick is in. Every single thing that happens to us happens from above, even if we are the conduit for it to come about. So what do? And that's the answer to the question. The answer to the question of why God created the world first with darkness and then added light is so that we can fix up the world, so that we could turn the world into a better place, so that we can add positivity, because you know what? We're all going to be tested. I've been around the world. I've partied with rock stars and millionaires and Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion, and I've hung out with bums who live in dumpsters. And I can tell you this much. Every person in the world is tested. Some with health, some with money, some with family, some with everything. It's part of our life. The question is what we do about it. How do we turn that negativity into positivity? And that's why God started creation with darkness, so we can add light, so we could bring goodness into the world, so we could channel positivity into what appears to be negativity. But in fact, it all comes from above. And if it wasn't our friend who we spoke about a minute ago who gave that Oxycontin pill to that young man, someone else would have given it to him, because that's the test he had to go through. Now, what happens to our friend is he has to do tshuva. He needs to go to that young man and ask for forgiveness. In fact, to do everything he can to help that young man become in a better place, to turn to God and ask for forgiveness. It says that God gave us first the cure and then the disease. The cure is the Torah. The disease is the exile and all the negativity things that come with it. So how do we fix it? We've got to go into God's Torah. We've got to learn more. We've got to do more mitzvahs. We've got to bring light into the world. And by bringing light into the world, we can fix the darkness not only in our own souls, but in the world around us. The key to uncover and to work on ourselves and to really bring joy to ourselves is to find that dark spot inside of our soul, that negative thing that we did or that someone else did to us, and break through it, whether that's through a farbrengen, through a therapist, through writing, through self-reflection, but to turn that negativity into positivity. In fact, we learn it says, Havaya ani havaya lo shiniti. God said, I did not change. The entire creation did not affect God. God is the same before creation and after creation. And guess what? A Jew is part of the Creator. When we could tap into that consciousness and know that we are part of God, we have the ability to transcend all the negative things, all the sins we've done, all the bad things we've done. We also can say, Ani lo shaniti. I did not change. Even though this bad thing happened to me, even though I did this bad thing, I'm not that bad thing. I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person. I'm a godly person. And I did wrong. So now I need to fix that wrong. Now I need to elevate it back to its source and goodness. If we look around in the world, we see a lot of injustice. And some people choose to ignore it. Others choose to protest. And some choose to add to that injustice by making more injustice and breaking and destroying things. That is not the way. The way is to add light. The way is to channel goodness into the world. And when we focus on the goodness we need to do and work on fixing up whatever negative things may have happened to us or we have caused, it will surely hasten the redemption and bring Mashiach immediately. Mashiach now. God bless you. Have a wonderful week.